I probably steal that list.
There's also yes or no question, or there's also 30 seconds. Yes, and then the yes or no question.
more people driving. There will be an opportunity for questions submitted on the 3x5 form. We got an amazing amount of really good questions, emails, and the registration. So we've already got a lot of crowdsourced questions. But if there's something additional, please put it in the card, and if you just raise it, we'll have runners, we'll pick it up, and then we'll feed it back here to our moderator when towards the end. We have the additional question and one question. You can twist it into a yes, no. It's more likely to get half and you get more. So we'll be going in this okay. Focus here.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Dan Smith, and on behalf of the organizers of this forum, the new Prince George's County, the Civic and Environmental Alliance, and many other organizations that are collaborating to put on this event. We welcome you and we welcome the candidates. Thank you very much for being here with us today. We got many excellent questions in advance, but if something is said that prompts a question, write it in the 3x5 card and a runner will pick it up and we'll feed it into the questions toward the end. This is a nonpartisan forum hosted by this new county alliance. All 8 candidates for the 2 at-large positions have been invited. 2 declined. They just happened to be the 2 who, prior to establishment of the at-large positions 8 years ago, would have been term limited. Our online registration form asked for issues of most concern. Topping the list was transparency and ethics, which just barely beat out data centers. So there's been a lot of concern in the county about these issues and other matters. And one question is whether will it be felt at the ballot box? But also, we want to welcome our moderator, Rondez Green from the Banner. Today, in some ways, for local news, it's a historic day because we have a new local news outlet coming to Prince George's. Yes. And that's the Banner, and you can check out, they've got a great recent record in Baltimore, Anne Arundel, Montgomery, and we're really pleased that they're coming here. So Rondez is a graduate of Bowie State, and so he knows our community, and he is, we're pleased to have him, and the arrival of the Banner comes not a day too soon. So please take it away.
Great, thank you. Good morning. I don't know that we're on. Can I get a sound check, please? Okay, great. Good morning, everybody. Oh, I can tell I'm in Prince George's County. Wonderful. Love that. So today, opening up with a few quick announcements. We did share that at the end, we'll have time for audience questions. So if you could please, if something comes up to you and we can't get to it in our already prepared slate of questions, write it on a postcard. At the end, we'll have time for everybody to submit something. The second thing I want to ask is I just did the same. If y'all can mute your phones, just so that we don't have any interruptions. This is being recorded and will be shared online for other folks to be able to tune in. And I also imagine something from it will come from the banner. Quick introduction to say again, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Quick introduction to myself. Of course, I'm the creator and social editor for the banner. I will be leading the Banner Prince George's newsroom, making our social media content, videos, updating the website, so on and so forth. I do the same for Montgomery County. But I am excited to be with y'all today. We have a limited amount of time, so I want to make sure that we get to all of these questions and we can go ahead and get right into it. So first, we'll start with 2 minutes for an opening statement, and 1 minute at the end. We'll have 1 minute for a closing statement from each of our candidates. The way that I'm going to do this, we'll have a 60-second question, we'll have a yes or no question, and we will have a 30-second question. I'll go from left to right, I'll go from right to left, I will go middle to left and middle to right, alternating with each question so that we have some variety. So we'll start from the left here. Mr. Floyd, if you could please give us a 2-minute introduction.
Okay, great. You can hear me. Good morning, everybody. First, thank you to the host, the Alliance, and the Banner for being here today. Thank you to all the audience members who's come out to hear us speak and hopefully hear some differential things between the candidates. My name is Sean Floyd, and I like to tell people I'm a child of Prince George's County. Born here, raised here, went to Gladstone Spelman Elementary School, Oxon Hill Middle School, and graduated from Oxon Hill High School. I then went on to become a first-generation college grad, attending St. Mary's College of Maryland with a bachelor's degree in political science and a minor in African diaspora studies. I have a project management certification and actually had some training in stormwater drainage and environmental management through previous work. My background is very simple. I'm an educator. I've worked for Prince George's County Public Schools, charter schools in DC, and was an adjunct professor at George Washington, where I taught a campaigns and elections class. I'm a public servant. I worked for Mayor Bowser in her first term for the first administration. I was her director of scheduling for the first 6 months, and then chief of staff to her senior advisor for 3.5 years, where we dealt with all of her policy at every level. And lastly, I'm a community advocate. I currently serve as the vice chair of the Prince George's County Parks and Recreations Advisory Board, and I've built a career working in campaigns and elections, advocating for people in their communities and civil engagement and civil rights across the country, most recently serving as the National Manager for Programs and Outreach for the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. I love that he identified the #1 issue of transparency and accountability and ethics, because that is also my #1 issue on the council as well. We need to understand where our money's going, how it's moving, and really help our residents get back to a place where they feel like they're getting a return on their investment, not just hearing about what could happen and what could benefit them. So I look forward to hearing your questions. Sean Floyd again, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Dr. Gilchrist?
Thank you. I'm Dr. Laura Gilchrist. I am a professor of human rights and ethics at George Washington University, and I formerly taught global health and medical anthropology at the University of Maryland for several years. I am trained in, I'm an anthropologist and trained in international affairs. So I do development and medical anthropology primarily. I live in Adelphi. I'm a proud mom, a single mother, and I am also running on transparency and accountability because I, like you, am a resident of the county and have seen these issues over and over, and how they are affecting our communities, how they affect me and my daughter, how they affect our neighborhood, how they affect our surrounding neighborhoods from North County to South County. So those are primary issues that I'm worried about. I've been an educator for many years now, primarily at the university level, but I also am an in-class teacher's aide and a substitute for K through 12. And so I see student education and development from the earliest childhood education to college. And I can tell you as a college professor, what does and doesn't work when those students get to my classroom, what college readiness actually looks like, and what proper developmentally appropriate education looks like in the classrooms and what we need to do to ensure that that is actually what's happening. So those are two of my big goals. I'm also an environmentalist. I work very hard on environmental issues because I know that those are intimately related to our health. I'm a big health in every policy candidate, health in every policy person, just generally. I teach policy and policy evaluation. And so wanted to bring those skills that I have and those experiences that I have, having worked from every kind of job, from gas station attendant to college professor, right? To make sure that we have the things that we need to thrive, to live well, to live, play, and work, as I like to say, in our county, in all of our communities. Just this morning, I was driving and my daughter was like, why is that man walking in the street? And I said, there aren't any sidewalks, so that's my time, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Jacobs?
I might as well stand up. Good morning, I'm Gina Jacobs. I have spent the last 10 years working at the national level. But before I get to that, I want to share with you what I've done locally. So I served 10 years on the school board in Prince George's County. 6 of those 10 years, my colleagues voted for me to be chair every single year. And I served that time, and it was what got me to the school board was that I worked 23 years in the Department of Corrections. I retired from the Department of Corrections, a lieutenant colonel responsible for the Office of Professional Responsibility and Legal Affairs. Basically what that means, I was responsible for all internal investigations. So we had to look at facts as opposed to people and things that were non-factual. I've spent the last 10 years working on the national level. I work for the National School Boards Association as their CEO. And that means I go across the country looking at communities and school districts and working with school boards to do better by kids. But the unique thing about our organization is that we also deal with all other kinds of issues that impact education. So our organization, we file more amicus briefs in Supreme Court than any other group. And we also advocate in Congress for issues that impact local communities, particularly around education and also safety. Our organization recently received a $8 million grant from EPA, working with the Go Green Initiative. So it's taught us also different ways that we can be supportive across the country in in that arena. What's most important, I think, about this race and why I'm running, because it's been 10 years since I've been on the school board, but in that time, I've gotten a deeper and broader understanding, quite frankly, of the political strategies necessary in our communities. And I also I wanted to take the opportunity to bring that back home. So that broader experience and deeper knowledge is something that I want to see on the county council, and I want to bring a leadership perspective to that. And hopefully I look forward to the opportunity to hear your questions and be able to answer those. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Ms. Rios?
Hi, my name is Dr. Rios, Dr. Jennifer Rios. I am a U.S. Army combat veteran. I served 13 years in the United States Special Operations paratrooper. I got out of the military and I decided to build a business here, and eventually ended up creating 3. After I created 3 different businesses, I created the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for Prince George's County, where we thrive on 3 different pillars. We help all students, we help all employees, and we help all business owners. Our board of directors is very diverse. If you ever get a moment to look up hccpg.com, please do so. We have grown since the past 3 years with over 50 members and supporting the community. I have sit on 9 different board of director seats across the nation, most of them as chair, recent appointed by Governor Westmore as the commissioner for the Latin Affairs, but also chosen as the chair of the Maryland Legislative Latino Caucus Foundation, supporting the actual caucus. I am running on 3 different priorities, and that's economic development, infrastructure, and public safety. Ethics and transparency are ingrained in my DNA through my Army core values of leadership, loyalty, duty, respect, honor, integrity, and perseverance. I have wanted to make sure that I told you all about the 3 priorities that are making smart economic development by using public safety zoning permits, housing affordability for everyone, bringing businesses here. Not only can the business owner live here, but we want to make sure that all employees can stay here. And the last one is, I want to make sure that the at-large seat is used the way it was intended to be used. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. Mr. Washington?
Hi, everyone. My name is Keith Washington, and I'm running for county council at large. And I'm going to tell you why you should vote for me, and I appreciate your support. I spent 20 years in the United States Army, retired paratrooper, joined the Army at 17 as an enlisted soldier. I got commissioned as an E5 sergeant as an officer, and I retired as a colonel. I spent 17 years on the Prince George County Police Department at the same time. I came to this county in 1990 and never left. Had 10 years in the Army, and I joined the police department and would leave one job and go to the other. Worked the midnight shift in the police department and reported for duty at 7 a.m. that same morning. I had a foundation while I was a police officer in this county for 13 years. My foundation gave scholarships to kids, and we helped our seniors with their utilities, with their food bills, with their medical bills. We provided transportation for them. I raised money as a police officer from Fortune 1000 companies to help fund that foundation, my wife and I, for 13 years. Listen, I can tell you about public safety. I was a detective my last 12 years before I retired and solved a lot of crimes in this county. So I know the issues that you face about safety. I can tell you about ethics. We investigated a lot of pay-to-play issues. Some went forward and a lot of them got squashed. When I'm councilman, they won't get squashed anymore. And so politics won't come into play when we're dealing with corruption or insider deals or backroom issues that the public doesn't see. Now, I'm a high school dropout. Let me tell you that. You wouldn't believe it to look at me or listen to me. I was a high school dropout at age 15, not because I was a bad kid, because we had to work for a living. And I saw two friends of mine walking one day, and they said, "Where are you going?" And we said, "We're going to join the Army." I said, "I'm going with you," just like that. Never heard of Army day in my life. And I'm sorry, red card is up. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Dr. Waters?
Good morning. My name is Dr. Noah Waters. Here, thank you for having this here with my lovely wife. Yes, my name is Dr. Noah Waters. Thank you for having this. I'm here with my lovely wife, Linda, in the front row. We're the parents of 5, kind of a blended family. We have quite a few grandkids also. So I am the former mayor of the town of Eagle Harbor. Eagle Harbor is located here in Prince George's County. I'm a former elected official. I have great working, effective relationships with federal, county, state officials. I know pretty much all of them. Under my administration, the town of Eagle Harbor was able to achieve the largest financial benefits in its nearly 100-year history. It took a lot of work and was placed on the National Register. So I will bring that same skill set to Eagle Harbor, to Prince George's County. I know how to bring benefit. I did not borrow money. I'm a Democrat running for office. I'm a retired Prince George's County police officer. I'm a former Pocono City police officer. I'm published. I work with children. I believe that we can reduce, stigma, crime in the county and stereotypes of crime in the county by rewarding children for behavior in the K-12 environment. We can bring benefits. We can reduce property taxes. We should not have that as the only go-to to benefit Prince George's County. It takes skills. We need skills on the county council. And I know I do have those skills, and I can work across the aisle. I'm very effective bringing benefits to people. I've done it before, and I would ask you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for your introductions. Quick overview as to the topics that we'll cover today with our questions, and then we'll get right into them. We have coming up first is tech, data centers, and surveillance. Second to that, we have affordable housing and equitable development, and we'll move on to climate change and environmental justice. And finally, we'll have governance and structural reform, which was, again, one of the more highly requested topics for our forum today. So the questions, as I mentioned, you will have a different amount of time allotted to answer each of them. This first question is a 60-second, so a 1-minute answer. And we will go from left to right for this first question. And this is about data centers, as large data centers have been a major concern here and across the country. How successful was the county's data center task force to assist the council in establishing guidelines to protect communities, public health, the environment, and ratepayers? And finally, in projecting tax revenue. How should the county council proceed how should the county council proceed here? And that's our first question. If you need me to repeat it, please let me know and I will. But Mr. Floyd, can you start us off?
Okay, so I think the first part of it is how successful.
That's
To me,
right.
they weren't. They had a number of forms. I don't think they were properly notified. I don't think communication was clear to people to really solicit participation from residents all across the county. I think the largest forum that they had was held at the Sports and Learning Complex. And they got regulations and created a report out of there. But as far as to my knowledge, they haven't done anything with it since. I think if we're going to move forward in any capacity or even consider data centers, what we should be doing next is establishing resource regulations, zoning regulations, and environmental regulations so that these things are already in place before we even consider what a data center could look like in Prince George's County. I think the second piece is you don't get those regulations to just automatically start building them. I think you start with maybe one and see what that is. We got to continue to do research. The longer term effects of data centers are what's really unknown right now. And if we think about it and how they move, just because they're using a certain amount of technology and resources right now does not necessarily mean they're going to use the same amount moving forward in the future.
Thank you. And Dr. Gilchrist, same question for you. 60 seconds, please.
Thank you. So I followed the task force carefully, and I agree with Mr. Floyd that there was not sufficient public notification or public participation. The town hall that was held at the Sports and Learning Complex was only held after mass outcry from the community and over 20,000 people who had signed the petition. By the way, 20,000 people is nearly the entire population of Landover where the data center was proposed. And there was a real resistance to listening to the will of the people. I also believe that, and I've done significant research on data centers and have listened to experts on our electric grid. We do not have the infrastructure to support data centers. We need a full moratorium on data centers in Maryland because we do not have the infrastructure for it. We cannot have the infrastructure for it, and we cannot support it on our grid. That's my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jacobs.
Good morning. So the task force was really successful in creating havoc and making sure that the public had no idea what was going on. And so it was successful in that. I think to that point, it means that we have to be more transparent about these issues. Of course, it impacts our local community. The location that they were originally talking about made zero sense. If you know that Landover area that was proposed, I don't think anyone in that community, and oftentimes that specific community, don't have voice. So it's easy to put something in a location when you don't think the people are going to come out and be in uproar. So what I would say is that, at least from my perspective, I have been doing a lot of homework. I admit that I am not an expert on data centers, but it is my job and my commitment to make sure that I understand the impact that it has on communities, and I will do that and ensure that any task force, and quite frankly, task forces sometimes are created to kick the can down the road. At the end of the day, we need real action. We need to make sure that the community is heavily involved, and we need to make decisions based on what the community tells us.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Dr. Rios.
I would agree with all of my colleagues here. I don't think it was successful. I think when you're making decisions that impact residents, that you need their input. As Dr. Gilchrist mentioned, pretty much everybody came out from Landover. I think that we need to get more data and analyze the data that we get, the impact on the environment. We definitely need to sit down and review that data before any of those things are chosen for our county. We definitely need to ensure that policies and zoning is looked at very thoroughly. Also, the impact on, if we're going to put it in a location that has agriculture, what is that impact with water? Again, the electricity, how is that going to impact our residents? But I agree with my colleagues in the fact that we definitely need the residents' input on this, and we need to make sure that there is a voice from the community if it's going to be impacting each of us. Thank you.
Mr. Washington.
Thanks, sir. Listen, I'm against data centers, and I'll tell you why. The state of Maine has banned them completely. The wastewater from data centers are going to seep into our ground, into our potable water. A lot of that, over 1 million gallons a day is going to be needed to cool a data center. And that's a small one. That water, ladies and gentlemen, is going to run off into the sewer system, into our land, into our neighborhoods, and we're going to be left with environmental catastrophe. So we know that the people who had this forum or this council, as it relates to data centers for the council, those people were insiders. And they tried to do something in the dark, and it came to light at the 11th hour, and people showed up in protest and said, we don't want it in our neighborhoods. And you don't want it here in Bowie, I can tell you that. I can absolutely tell you that. You don't want some facility as big as a Safeway parking lot to be running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So Google and Microsoft and Amazon can collect data on you, and your electricity bills go higher.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Dr.
Thank you for that question. No one has stood more against data centers than myself. My campaign manager, Taylor Frazier, is in Zambia, Africa right now, educating to stop the exploitation of data centers coming to Zambia, Africa. I thank the PSL members for being here. I thank Prince Georgians for standing up. It's because you stood up, the moratorium came about. The task force was a farce. It was just trying to go through the changes to have an approval and say that we did what we needed to do. But I thank you for standing. I know of no one who wants to live near a data center. I honor the will of the people, and best way to handle data centers is to say no, because the industry will correct itself. Thank you.
Thank you. And so we're moving on to our first yes or no question. We'll go from right to left. This is going to be much shorter than our 60-second answer. This is a yes or no question. This is on building a tech economy, still on the subject of tech, data centers, and surveillance. The strategic plan of the county's Office of Information Technology calls for policies to foster tech and entrepreneurs and local ownership of data independent of big tech. Do you agree that a vibrant tech economy can be developed here without large data centers? Yes or no? And Dr. Waters?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Dr. Rios?
B, yes.
Thank you. Ms. Jacobs?
Yes.
Dr. Gilchrist?
Yes.
And Mr. Floyd?
And yes.
Thanks so much. Our final question on the subject, surveillance and AI. Large data centers provide the computing power for cryptocurrency, online gambling, AI-driven surveillance tools, hospitals, social media, many other things too, which are increasingly used for gathering data previously considered private, and for agencies like ICE to monitor and target protesters. This is the question here, how should surveillance and AI factor into data center policy? Are there ordinances or oversight mechanisms that you support to ensure our local infrastructure is not complicit in suppressing dissent or violating civil liberties? If I need to repeat that question again, I will. This time we'll go from middle to left with Ms. Jacobs. Please start us off. Sure. Bit of a long question. The crux of it, though, is how should surveillance and AI factor into data center policy? Are there ordinances or oversight mechanisms that you support to ensure our local infrastructure is not complicit in suppressing dissent or violating civil liberties? It's a question of oversight.
So I think that, first of all, AI should not be used nefariously, obviously. I think that it's important to, when you think about surveillance, we are entitled to our privacy. And we're in a world now where the privacy is constantly being taken away from us. We are losing our ability to keep our lives private. We're losing our ability to make sure that, that we're not being overseen by the quote unquote, the infamous government, if you will. So I think that we would have to have at the council level ordinances and laws that are designed to limit the amount of ability to surveil our citizens to keep their privacy.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. I neglected to mention, but thank you for staying within the time anyway. This is a 30-second question, so y'all do have a bit more time this time around. Dr. Gilchrist, I'll ask you the same question. How should surveillance and AI factor into data center policy, and what sort of oversight mechanisms would you use to ensure it?
So for our existing data centers, which are sufficient or more than sufficient for what we already need, there should absolutely be oversight for AI usage and the limits on AI usage. And until we can figure out the appropriate guardrails to ensure that surveillance is not violating our privacy, so that our faces and our actual data are not being shared with other agencies, we absolutely need to pause these things and ensure proper oversight and policies to protect us.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. Mr. Floyd?
I think a couple of things. I think one, data centers are going to be privately owned. And I think that's a bigger problem in itself. And it's going to be harder to regulate what a privately owned company does, i.e., which is why we were in the situation at Landover Mall in the first place. I think two, I would say mostly everybody in this room has probably gotten an email notification about a data breach at some point in time. And those security issues are another big concern. So I think we need to look at the regulations overall before we can even talk about what we're doing in those AI spaces. And if we can't control those and how they work in our county, then we probably shouldn't have them in the first place.
Thank you. Dr. Rios?
Ouch. As a IT company business owner, I do believe in smart policies and laws to protect us. I do focus in AI and cybersecurity in my company, but we practice safe AI and cybersecurity, and we make sure to protect our government with our government contracts. So I, like my colleagues here as well, believe in privacy of our data, especially when it comes to ICE and are the folks that live in our residence. I think that we need to be responsible when we are making these policies to ensure that we protect ourselves. Thank you.
Mr. Washington?
Yeah. Listen, check AI is dangerous. It's not about systems anymore, right? It's about surveilling you. It's about tracking you. It's about finding what you do, what you don't do, what your habits are, and then pulling you in. It's about really controlling your lives without your knowledge. So we have constitutional amendments for unreasonable search and seizure. They're seizing your information without your knowledge in order to control you, ladies and gentlemen, your spending habits, and make you like or dislike things without even thinking about it. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. And Dr. Waters?
Yes, there's a power in saying no. So instead of waiting for data centers to come online and then to go after these improvements to honor, such as the Fourth Amendment, those types of things, that we need to use the power of saying no to have all of these guardrails in place before we move forward with any ideas of tech involving data centers. Thank you.
Thank you. That's our final question for the tech, data centers, and surveillance section. We'll move on to affordable housing and equitable development. There are 5 questions here. Our first question, you have 60 seconds. You have 60 seconds for the first question on affordable housing. As was said off the top, the county is far more dependent on property taxes to fund essential services than other nearby jurisdictions, and yet there's a strong need for more housing that is affordable. So the question here is, and you have 60 seconds to respond. We will start with Dr. Rios once I ask. Beyond density bonuses or tax abatements for developers, what concrete steps would you take to expand permanently affordable housing? And please, Dr. Rios, you have 60 seconds.
I think we'd have to look at the current and existing policies that are in place for our residents now and review how they have impacted our residents, review those, see what's been helpful, what's not been helpful. I believe that there was a Section 8 that opened recently and so many people had to be able to apply for it, but then it was a short gap in a week. So how effective is Section 8? How effective are the other policies before we go and implement something? See how much money that's costing us and see which residents are being mostly impacted. Is it the seniors? Is it the single parents? Is it the household income up to? I think the cost of living overall is very expensive to live in Prince George's County, and the tax rate that we get taxed is very high. So I would want to look at every program revamp them if need be, and then implement new programs that could be more effective for our residents.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. Mr. Washington?
It's a real estate company. We employ 45 Prince Georgians. It's a family-owned company. We've been doing it for 30 years. I've done a lot in life. And so we still employ people here. And I know what affordable housing is. We operate in 5 states, DC, Maryland, Virginia, Alabama, and Texas. And we build houses. We build affordable housing. So I can tell you what it really means. Now, I told you before I had a foundation for seniors in this county. I know that a lot of seniors suffer trying to pay for their food, their utilities, their mortgage, and their fixed income of Social Security. So they need affordable housing. I'm going to put together plans from a first responder, from an experience perspective, where we've dealt with people who need livable communities, because you see a project as affordable and then really it's not. I'm going to show you how to get through that and actually provide affordable housing for the masses in a safe, secure environment where people can have a decent quality of life. We've done it before. We've done it for 30 years in my company, KSJ Incorporated. And so, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Dr. Waters, you have 60 seconds for this question.
So affordable housing is a complicated issue. I think instead of the bureaucrats leading on this issue all the time, that we need to bring in people who have experienced the affordable, needing affordable housing, for them to have a voice involved into tweaking, into coming up with solutions to address affordable housing in Prince George's County. It is a complicated issue. It is something that, again, that would require intervention from people who have experienced it. I think there's a problem with the bureaucracy controlling trying to solve the problem. People on county councils trying to solve it. A lot of times we may not have the skill sets to do it. So we need to bring in the people who have the empiricism to actually better the problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our next question. This is a question about rent control. I will actually. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you. Ms. Jacobs, please, 60 seconds.
So affordable housing is an issue in the county. We see a lot of homes going up, but can people afford them? I would say that we need incentives that create home ownership opportunities. A lot of even public safety and our school teachers work here but don't live here. And a lot of that is because they can't afford to live here. So not only incentives to have home ownership, but also we need to make sure that our renters are also taken care of. And I think that comes with smart growth. And it also should be something that, as we think about the incentives for home ownership, that our communities are diverse enough, and there's a number of different ways for people to live, whether it's a condo and a home or a townhouse. We need to make sure that there's mixed use areas for that.
Thank you. Dr. Gilchrist.
60 seconds?
This is 60 seconds. That's right.
Chatty County, I gotta make sure. So affordable housing is not just about the cost of a house or an apartment to rent or a condo. Affordable housing is about whether or not wages support the cost of rent, whether or not people, once they get into a home, can afford the bills that come with those things, whether or not once they buy a home, they have the capacity to renovate. I bought a fixer-upper hoping that I would be able to use the equity, but our interest rates and the absolute insane expansion of values because of flippers coming in and changing property values artificially and without any controls has made it so that I can't even do that. I'm going to have to wait until interest rates go way down to pull out the substantial equity that artificially blew up in my home, right? And even if that equity goes down, it seems like it would be fair because it would make houses more relatable and appropriate to our interest rates, right? So we need living wages and we need protections for artificially boosting housing costs, both at the residential level and for renters.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. Mr. Floyd?
I agree with Dr. Gilchrist on that. I think the idea of affordable housing extends beyond whether someone can pay their rent or their mortgage every month. I think that we do need to look at the diversity of housing. I take a look at senior communities right now. Some of our senior communities have apartments, they have villas, they have single family homes, they have co-units, and it seems to work. So we need to look at the diversity of the housing that we're offering. I think one of the other things that we need to do, similar to what Ms. Jacobs said, is look at workforce housing. A lot of what we do now, revenue that comes into the county or that comes from the county goes outside of the county because, like she said, people don't live here. So I think if we can get communities where people can actually live and work and play, then we can actually help with affordable housing and create some opportunities for folks.
Thank you. And so our next question is a shorter one. This is going to be a yes or no. I would ask y'all to also just give us 10, 15 seconds of commentary in addition to that. So the question is about rent control. Do you support rent stabilization? Yes or no? And we will go from left to right this time. So, Mr. Floyd.
Yes, I support rent stabilization. I think we have to really look at how the market is moving and how it reflects on where we are. We don't have the incomes that, like we said, if a house starts at $500,000, it makes it hard for a first-time buyer to buy anything.
Thank you. Dr. Gilchrist.
Yes, I support rent stabilization, both for, so there have been very successful policies that connect rent to the cost of living. And so connecting those things is a very plausible solution to this problem. That and controlling things like RealPage, which is automated pricing based on AI.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. Ms. Jacobs.
Yes, and it has to be balanced. So we talk about Prince George's County not being business friendly. So there's the renter who deserves to have a fair a rate to live. But then there's also the business owner who also has should have the ability to have a fair ability to collect on their rent. So I think we have to balance that conversation and make sure that it's not unfair for either side.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. And Dr. Rios.
Yes, I believe in rent stabilization as cost of living. We have to look at inflation and taxes as well as the businesses that come here to kind of help balance all of those things. So I believe it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Washington.
Yes, I mean, also to explain why. Listen, wages are stagnant in a lot of these jobs, but the rent spikes. So what do? Caught between the rock and a hard place. People need to understand that there are consequences of rent stabilization, of affordable housing.
Thank you.
So yes, I support rent stabilization, and actually as a mayor, I voted for existing rent stabilization. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Our next question, you have 30 seconds to respond to this one. This is on sustainable community center development. What economic development would you prioritize for underutilized sites like Landover Mall? How would you prevent developers from holding neglected land for extended periods of time? This is 30 seconds, and we'll start with you again, Dr. Waters.
Real quick, I'm the guy who's supporting heritage tourism in Prince George's County, the only county in the state of Maryland. The entire county is a heritage area. There's a lot that can be done with that. I believe this is a gold mine. I think that we're part of the Southern Maryland National Heritage Area. We need talent. We need talent on the county council that can draw those resources and bring those benefits to build a robust economy and revenue in Prince George's County.
Right, thank you. And Mr. Washington, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think that with that parcel of land, that there's a lot to be done with it, including real jobs, real community development, not just a stadium, not just a casino. Those are not livable wage jobs. Quality companies that come here that provide livable wages. I'm talking high 5, high 6-figure jobs that are sustainable to our county, right? We have talent in this county, but we don't have people with vision who can bring businesses here that are going to employ our people and make our quality of life much better. You know, we're getting in gas stations and liquor stores, and we can do better.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Dr. Rios?
For the land that is sitting, I would say that we talk to the current owners and try to make deals with them that can improve our county to make use for small businesses, areas for our teens to go, because I know that public safety right now, people are concerned about teens. Create career pathways, utilize the land to make more programs for us to put students to go either way in their career, whether it's trade, college, business, or employment.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. And Ms. Jacobs?
I think we've been too friendly too long. I moved here when I was 14 years old, and Landover Mall, that Landover space is still blight. It causes other issues, crime issues. It causes communities to be depressed. And so, quite frankly, I think that we really just need to find these companies, number one. And when the fines aren't working, I haven't recently read eminent domain laws, but we need to take that property away from them, because at the end of the day, it's our communities that we're living here, and they're not living in our community. They're just causing the problems in our community.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Dr. Gilchrist?
Thank you. I agree with Ms. Jacobs. And I also believe that we should impose land value taxes to discourage developers from holding on to land for a very long time, and also improving and diversifying our tax base. We can pay for transportation that way. We can pay for community service that way and public goods that way. And land value taxes are a tried and true system for managing that. We need to consult the community and ask them what they want. The Landover site has numerous people who have answered surveys and said, here are all the things that we want. And so I think we really need to take that into consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Floyd?
I think the reality of it is most of these developers who own these lands, such as Landover Mall, that are sitting there, are profit driven and have no incentive on doing anything that is not going to bring them profit. So I think land value taxes, prime example, are an option. I think we do have to look at what eminent domain could look like, as they have done in DC and some of the other jurisdictions when those blighted properties were still sitting there. And then I think, like you said, the community impact, the community's opinion of what actually goes there is most valuable than everything. I remember Landover Mall and how valuable it was and the staple that it was in our county, and it has been a problem ever since.
Thank you. Our next question is on agriculture and food. This is also 30 seconds. And we will start in the middle here with Ms. Jacobs. The question is, how can the county's rich agricultural and farm heritage be activated as a vital pillar for county economic development?
So I think we could partner more with the University of Maryland. They have an awesome agricultural department and ability to do more. I would say that because we're blessed enough to have the uniqueness of rural, urban, and rural and suburban areas in the county, that we have to make the best use. We need to have more opportunities for communities to have gardens and things like that. And I think the county is in a good position to make sure that that happens across the county for a community.
Thank you. Dr. Gilchrist?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure thing. The question is on agriculture and food. How can the county's rich agricultural and farm heritage be activated as a vital pillar for county economic development? A question of agriculture and food.
Thank you. I get so excited. I got distracted about what I was going to say. I am extremely supportive of our current farm workers and our current farm systems that we have. Many are in South County, but there are also some in Central County. They are currently helping feed people who are food insecure, in addition to providing food and making a business out of it. We have a tremendous opportunity and tons of beautiful space for agrivoltaics, things that both produce energy and food for us. And I think we should invest in those.
Thank you. Mr. Floyd?
Education extends beyond the classroom. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we need to do in this county. We need to educate our fellow residents on what sustainable food looks like, on what environmental friendly areas look like, and how to actually do that. I know at one point in time, a few years ago, there was a big push for stormwater rain barrels at people's houses. And then all of a sudden, the funding for those projects went away. So I don't think we're doing enough to really educate and help sustain the programs that we're aligning to align and help our farmers in those agricultural spaces engage with the community and really leverage it.
Thank you. Dr. Rios, 30 seconds for you.
Hi, yes, I am a rancher. So I have 6 horses, 1 pony, 10 goats, and a bunny. I love my farm. But I am trying to bring it here to Prince George's County, and I think that we need to create incentives and programs for people who want to buy here, because I plan to use it to create gardening for people to come for free, to be able to grow their own vegetables. And I will have cattle and all the things so that we can make sure that we feed our local communities. We need to use the land that we have here to ensure that we can feed our communities and grow our own food and meat. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Washington.
Yeah, I think we can do a lot with our agricultural labors. Listen, we can provide them with transportation and connections with markets. A lot of farmers in this county have trouble getting their crops to market. And so we can provide them with tax incentives and other issues that'll help them out. We also, as food tech bio studies that University of Maryland does, right? How we could turn food waste into renewable energy. And so there's a lot of things that we do that we can correct it. You just need the vision to correct it. People who are smarter than you and I to come in and use their expertise to build out a quality of life that we want. And the farm system is second to none. A lot of these counties don't have the team that we have. So
Thank you, Mr. Washington.
I keep going over.
And Dr. Waters?
Yes, so agritourism, I think checks many boxes. It could bring food, it could bring jobs, it could bring revenue to the county. It could help educate young children in schools to come and see farmers and farm animals and those types of things. 40% of the county is District 9. So agritourism, it checks all of those boxes and it will help to bring revenue, jobs, what we desperately need. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Waters. And so looking at our final question for this category of affordable housing and equitable development, we're going to talk about Six Flags right here in Bowie. So very soon the county council will face decisions about rezoning, and tax incentives for developing the 500-acre Six Flags property located 6 miles from the nearest metro station. The site is adjacent to Belt Woods, one of the richest natural areas on the entire East Coast, and a county designated special conservation area. So the question is, and you have 30 seconds to respond to this question, how should the county work with the new owners of Six Flags to ensure redevelopment is in the public interest? A follow-up question to that is, how do you see your role and the communities in shaping this project? And we'll start with Dr. Waters again.
Yes, thank you. I'm the Six Flags is possibly going to be a site for hyperscale data centers. I'm concerned about that. And I think no matter what, no matter who owns property, that the citizens of Prince George's County lead on that. And we need a county council that will honor the will of the people, that you have to continuously lead. You have the ability to lead. And it's very important that you choose people in this vote that will help you lead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Waters. Mr. Washington, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think Six Flags is a once-in-a-generational opportunity. We have 500 acres of land that we need to make sure is developed in a manner in which we desire, bringing quality jobs. And I think that we have enough overdevelopment in terms of townhouses. We don't need that anymore. We need economic businesses to come here to tax base, right? I mean, real high-paying quality jobs. That's what's going to move Prince George County forward. Not another 300 townhomes and no infrastructure to support it.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. And Dr. Rios?
As a business owner, I believe in sitting down at the table with the stakeholders to talk about the land that is there. I think we could use that space for creating an environment where families can go and get back to outside. I believe that we can have businesses set up there as well. We can look at some tech hubs. We can look at restaurants, outdoor activities for everyone to do together, from maybe fine dining for businesses to be able to do business development there. And that's my take.
Thank you, Dr. Rios.
I think what happens oftentimes is, particularly a place like Prince George's County where we have a revenue issue, we need more commercial base. We need to make sure that at the county council level that we are not, we don't succumb to the shiny objects. Businesses come in, they have a lot of shiny objects. They tell us, oh, you're going to make all this money. And so we find ourselves negotiating against ourselves. We need to make sure that county council level with the county executive, that we don't succumb to shiny objects, make sure that the community is 100% engaged, and make sure that at the end of the day, it's to benefit our residents, not just businesses.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist.
Thank you. So from start to finish, there needs to be high levels of transparency. We need to know at every single level what's going to happen with this space. Kevin, one of the companies owned by Kevin Durant has made a bid, and it looks like they are probably going to get this space and use it in a multi-use way, probably as some sort of sports or mixed-use complex. But what that should include is we should also ensure that we are not cutting corners and include full environmental health and economic justice assessments. Make sure those are complete and make sure that their planning is compatible with what we need, especially since it's next to a bioconservation zone, and community input at every step of this process is required.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. Mr. Floyd?
I think I agree with everybody on the steps and importance of community input. I think that the space is very much so an opportunity for a variety of things to go there, including mixed use development. It has an opportunity for agricultural space over there. It has an opportunity for environmental space and recreational space. I think there are oftentimes, as we look at the 18 to 30-year-old, a market of things that we don't offer in our community for them. Recreational facilities, gymnastic facilities, lacrosse, other sports and opportunities that we don't have in the county or leverage, and we could use some of that space in addition to things like the technology corridor and others.
Thank you. And so that was our final question for this subject of affordable housing and equitable development. We're going to move on to climate change and environmental justice. And we'll start with you, Ms. Jacobs, for this one. So the first question is going to be you're going to have 60 seconds to respond to this one. Just a quick introduction to what we're talking about here with climate change. Evidence that climate change is accelerating is all around us. Homes, communities, infrastructure, and natural resources increasingly at risk. So the question is, with little federal support to address the causes and impacts of climate change, what is the role of the county to equitably address these issues? What actions would you have the county take and when? It's 60 seconds, Ms. Jacobs.
So first of all, I think you're right. We may not have the support we need at the federal level. But we have to leverage every possibility that we have at the county level to ensure that environmental justice, number one, that it's healthy communities for everyone. Environmental justice really means that everyone has to have the opportunity to be safe, to be in a position to thrive. Essentially, what I would say is at the county level, I would work with my colleagues and work with environmentalists. Prince George's County has a lot of organizations here that can help us make those decisions, and I think we need to rely on that in making those decisions. But essentially, environmental justice to me comes down to how do we ensure that our communities are thriving, and it's not just those communities that have the loudest voice, but those who are traditionally impacted by things that are not supportive and not healthy for the environment.
Thank you. Dr. Gilchrist?
Okay, so we have a climate action plan for the county, the 2024 climate action plan. And so far, not as much as should have already been done has been done. So we need to make sure that our policies are in line with our existing climate action plan that was put together by an independent set of researchers and evaluated all of the things that we needed to do to ensure that at the county level, we were doing what we needed to do to address climate change, right? We also need to ensure that our planning board and department and our county council are not establishing policies that skip and override the environmental protections and the environmental assessments that are currently required for every planning project. Cutting those policies out, fast tracking development so that we skip those things is not going to ensure environmental justice. It's not going to ensure that these projects are in line with the climate action plan.
Thank you. Mr. Floyd.
I think as a whole, resources are becoming scarce across our country. Anytime that our resources are traded commodities on the stock market, I think that that's a problem. And water is now still one of those traded the newest traded commodity there. I think that we need to do better coordination and partnership with our state level officials. Everybody knows the EPA just rolled back all of their environmental protection issues. They're not going to have regulators and inspectors and things like that. So we do have to fill those gaps if we are really concerned about what's happening in our state. And as a county and the way we operate in the state of Maryland, you can't do do it alone as a county. So leaning into partnerships with organizations like the Alliance and others, as well as working with our state delegations to get regulations across our state, not just in the county, will benefit everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Dr. Rios?
I think it starts at looking at what we are doing at the federal level and then reviewing what we're doing at state and then at county. As Dr. Gilchrist mentioned, we have a plan already, but it just hasn't been implemented into full effect. For instance, the stormwater management. I am the president of my HOA, and I constantly am reaching out to my council members for assistance for the stormwater that is in our county. So I think we have to look at what we're doing at the state, federal, and county level so that we can realign our policies and ensure that we are implementing, not just creating laws to create them and policies to create them, or paying an independent person to come in and evaluate our system, but actually doing something about it and sticking to our plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Washington?
Listen, the carbon emissions in this county exceed that of any other county in the state. So it's real. The EPA has the president fired all the inspector generals. So there's no oversight. There's no investigations. There's no accountability. In this county, Andrews just had a spill, several million gallons, as a matter of fact, at Andrews Air Force Base. You see, DC had a sewage spill. These things are real, ladies and gentlemen. So we need measurable, hard-hitting legislation and enforcement mechanisms to hold people accountable. We know the air, the water, how else are we going to live a quality life? We can't. It's really that simple. We have to enforce the laws that are on the books and create even more stringent laws to keep people, to hold people accountable, because we're in a dangerous, precarious situation right now.
Thank you.
So as a friend of the mayor, I can say that I've been involved in this fight. I am one, my town, Eagle Harbor, is one of 2 municipalities, only 2 in the state of Prince George's County, to be awarded a FEMA grant under my administration. It takes a lot of work. It's not only legislation. It takes elected officials who's going to step in and step between the little the little pieces that you need to step into to do the work. You have to have officials that are going to do the work. Reading a piece of a terse legislation is not going to do it. You have to have people who are on the county council who have the heart, who know that it takes more than a piece of paper or a piece of legislation. It's the person in the seat that you need to pick who's going to do all the hard work. It's a lot of work to do that, but it's very much achievable. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Waters. And moving into our next question here. This is going to be, we're going to give you 30 seconds to respond to this question. It's about a thriving economy in Prince George's County. So across the county, private equity has drained important assets from enterprises that provide essential services to people and communities for the benefit of the profit of investors. So the question is, and you have 30 seconds to respond. We will start with you, Dr. Waters. How would you ensure that new economic initiatives benefit community ownership models, not just corporate-led development? 30 seconds.
So experience with that, I had investors who were willing to bring $100 million to South Prince George's County. We need county council people who will lead developers, not be led by developers. Our agenda that you're constantly fighting against are led by developers because of campaign donations. I'm public finance. I do not take money from campaign, from developers. So we need those who will lead developers and not be led by developers. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Washington.
Yeah, I think I have this issue with legislation. We can create we can create investment opportunities for our citizens. We can create investment opportunities for our communities, right? That are responsible, that are basically green economies, where we can invest in ourselves and our land and our future. I agree with what Dr. Waters said about taking money from developers. My campaign takes no money from developers. We self-finance $5 donations. That's the max that we'll take from anyone, is $5. And so we stand with the people and for the people, and we let you know that no amount of money will have us betray your trust.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. And Dr. Rios?
Our job is to make the best deal for the best for the interest of our residents. We want to make sure that we carve or create a way when investors are coming to our land, to our area, that they have an obligation to give back to our community. I believe that if we're going to make smart economic decisions here and they're going to be investing in our county, we have to have some way that they give back to our residents if they're going to be here.
So I think part of what you said was not just the corporations. So certainly we need a more commercial base in the county, but we need to create those opportunities where the residents are the investors, that they have the opportunity to have ownership in where they live. And I don't know if that's co-ops, that's the best way to do that, but there should be opportunities for residents to own their own property, but not just the property, but the opportunity to make decisions that impact them in their own communities.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. And Dr. Gilchrist?
Yes, thank you. Private equity is a huge concern nationwide, and certainly in our county. Private equity targets things that should be public goods, like healthcare facilities, like your veterinarian offices, like housing. And so these are considerable issues. In terms of businesses and employment, I really believe in community ownership models and employee-owned businesses, so that they are in the community and that employees have a say in what's going on, and limits on what kinds of resources can be owned by private equity. Oh, I'm at time. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. And Mr. Floyd?
So I think the first step is having an actual county council that will stick to the principles and the demands that the community is asking for. I think you can't just pivot when the penny gets shinier, if that makes sense. I think the second piece of it is we need to look and explore further partnerships with our community partners and our nonprofits. I don't think corporations and private businesses are the only way that we can make progress and do things within our community. And I think lastly, we gotta focus on the right businesses that we want within the county. Just because you have a successful business doesn't mean you're right for the residents of Prince George's County.
Thank you. And that was our final question on climate change and environmental justice. We're gonna get into everyone's favorite subject, governance and structural reform. Ms. Jacobs, we'll start with you in the middle and work our way to the left. This first question, you'll have 30 seconds to respond. And this is on oversight responsibilities. Another question on oversight. Bit of an introduction here. Some of the candidates nominated by the county executive to leadership positions on the planning board and in county agencies have received little to no vetting by the council. Some appointments are confirmed without essential information about qualifications or potential conflicts of interest, which is required by county law. So the question here, and you have 30 seconds to respond, is how would you provide oversight of executive appointments and of the agencies in the county themselves?
Very easy. You have to vet people. And there should be a process for vetting people. And it's not just their education background, it is doing a thorough investigation, which is why when I served as the chief of the Office of Professional Responsibility and Legal Affairs, that was a lot of what I had to do. And even in my current job, communities call me to come across the country when they have community meetings to talk about who are the people that's going to be representing them and how do you vet people in that role. So the council needs to be we have 3 branches for a reason. The council needs to make sure that it is voting on things with informed information.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. And Dr. Gilchrist?
Can you repeat the question one more time? I missed the part.
Sure thing. No problem at all. The question is a question of oversight. The question is, how would you provide oversight of executive appointments and of the agencies in the county themselves?
Okay, great. So we already have processes, but that seem to be only used intermittently. So certainly making sure that we are following the rules and the charter as it exists, but also making sure that there are clear public announcements, that there are clear procedures so that the community knows what's happening, that they have a voice in oversight and who is selected for these positions, and that we are vetting those folks. And then in terms of the agencies, community-led oversight committees are extremely helpful.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. And Mr. Floyd?
So similarly, I agree. I think we need to, one, establish real clarity within our county charter. Every 4 years, when we elect the governor, the county charter goes under review. There are a lot of optional things in there that should be mandatory, and this is one of those things. I don't think that every council member necessarily needs to be involved in every single person that is appointed. But I do think the committees and where these people will be serving with and working with are important, and they should definitely have a voice and a say so in vetting them on behalf of the people. I've seen it literally in DC, or actually here in the county, where we've hired an agency director who was under investigation in DC to come and work in the county and run one of our agencies, and that was not a success.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. And Dr. Rios, you have 30 seconds for this question as well.
I agree with my colleagues in the fact that we do need a more thorough process. I think we should have background checks, resumes, and bio review for residents to see. I've seen a lot of experienced people who are qualified and have the experience get passed over because they are not friends with the current council. I believe in no friends, no favors, and no kickbacks.
Mr. Washington.
Yeah, we agree on those issues. I don't think there's any distance between any of us on those issues. That the vetting needs to take place, thorough background checks, and also I would even go as far as to say relationships. And so we understand how government works, that there is pay to play historically has happened in this county for 30, 40 years or more. And so it's no secret to any of us. And so the real issue is, how do we solve that? How do we hold people accountable? And so all appointees have to come before the council in a public forum. And so we want to mandate that.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Dr. Waters.
Yes, so I think this is vetting. I think we need to have more of these town halls. I think the people, you are doing this right now, it's existential, that we need to continue to do this, because the autonomy, the power that council people have when they become on board is tremendous to try to fight that power. So we need to have more of this for the community, for your eyes to see and judge who we are and who you want to be in the seat. Thank you.
Thank you. And this next question, we will allow 30 seconds for your response. We'll start with Dr. Rios in the middle and work our way to the right. This is a question on candidates and council experience. The two candidates who declined invitations to be here today have two-term records on the council. They argue that council experience better positions them to be effective council members over those with no council experience. So the question here is, are there votes and actions of these or other current council members that you've taken an issue with? Why and how do you feel you are better suited for an at-large position? So we're asking about actual results on votes, how you feel, and how you may or may not move differently.
Need to drop the bomb on me. Hold the time.
30 seconds, Dr.
Geez.
30 seconds, Dr. Rios.
Doctor in Business Administration and Leadership. One, I don't tear people down, I build people up. I believe that we have to, Jesus Christ, what was the question?
Good. Yeah. So this is a question about results of maybe procedural votes that have happened in the county council, maybe votes on legislation that you disagreed with, that you may have moved, that, or ones that you agreed with that you would have also followed suit with. It's with these two who did not show up, or anyone on the council. And this question is specifically because, I'm sure you've heard their common refrain is that they have been on the council, so they're more experienced and more worthy of this position than folks who have not been. So this is your opportunity for the work that they have done to offer a quick 30-second kind of review and what you would do. So I'll ask the question again, verbatim here, but I know it was a little packed.
Got it. I got it.
Yeah.
So I would say,
Sure.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I think that after 2 terms in a seat, you should get somebody else step up and get a change, because not everybody leads the same way. Again, not putting anyone down. I, applaud, because it's easier to judge when you're not in the seat wearing the hat. But I think that there have been votes that I always oppose, or I go for bills when they are in county on behalf of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So there's a lot of changes that I would have made and decisions that I would have made, but I have to stop now.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. Mr. Washington.
I would say that, listen, a lot of us went to the council, myself and about 20 members of my community and a bunch of school teachers. We spoke against a couple of bills, developments, overdevelopment. We've got 300 houses in my community coming, townhouses. We have 500 about 2 miles down the road from my community and another 500 in another location. And we spoke against that. The executives were to Toll Brother Homes were sitting in the front row and they spoke. And Congress voted with them against us.
Thank you.
And so that was telling right there.
Dr. Waters, 30 seconds.
So I don't mind telling it. I'm trying to save my town, Eagle Harbor, which is one of the quietest locations in the state of Maryland, from a data center. We have people on the county council right now who have proposed a data center for Eagle Harbor. Yes, and tried to have it in South County before, stopped by the circuit court. So yes, it matters who's on this council, and it matters that people come forward and speak the truth and not be afraid to say we need better.
Thank you, Dr. Waters. And Ms. Jacobs.
Let me just start by saying, we're not gonna always get it right. I'm not gonna necessarily speak to the current council. Yep, there's been some bad decisions across the board. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna make every decision that I make, you're not gonna necessarily agree. What I can commit to you is integrity. I'm gonna make sure that decisions that I make are based on listening to the community. And at the end of the day, I think that we have to make sure that if we're sitting in those seats, that we uphold the ultimate in ethics and make sure that we are being honest. And if I have a decision to make that you don't agree with, it's my job to tell you why I'm making that decision and actually have you maybe convince me that I'm not making the right decision. So I just want to say we're all human beings and we need to make realize that we're not gonna always be on the same page, but we absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Dr. Gilchrist.
So one of the reasons that I'm running is because I strongly believe in transparency and accountability, and I strongly believe in democracy. And we have term limited positions, and we currently have a loophole that allows people who have been in office for their 2 terms to run again. And if we are concerned with term limits at the national level, if we are concerned with term limits at the state level, then we need to act accordingly at the county level and ensure that we are following suit. I don't have more time than that, but.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. And again, sorry, Mr. Fuller, just one moment. Again, we'll have time at the end. So if there's any follow-up questions from the audience in this one in particular, we'll have time later on to continue with that. But Mr. Floyd, 30 seconds.
So I think everybody has a first day on the job, and hopefully you get better and grow as you continue to do that job and provide that service. I think, quite honestly, 8 years, some of their experience is what has us in the positions that we're in today. Again, you don't always get it right, and I get it, but we should always be working and striving towards getting better. I think you can look at the recent appointment process of the last 3 council members and what that process looked like. 4 years ago for the District 6 seat, when you got appointed, you couldn't run in the fall election. This time around, you could. The process was quick, there was no deliberation, and there was no transparency in what was going on, because for anybody who participated, the decision was made before we got to the table.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. All right, so we'll move on to our next question here. And this is another question about the function of the county council, specifically about eliminating at-large seats, which I imagine y'all have something to say about that. So we will start with we'll go from the left here, Mr. Floyd. This question is: it is almost certain that our November ballots will ask if we want to continue or eliminate the 2 at-large seats created with little public discussion 10 years ago. So the question is, this is a yes or no question. Feel free to give us 10 to 15 seconds of commentary for this one too. Do you favor eliminating the at-large positions, yes or no?
I mean,
Thoughts?
instantly the answer is no, I don't. This is the second time we've been around this process, and I think that we've only had at-large council members shortly for these 2 terms, and we haven't really had come to fruition on what they could be doing and how they should be doing it. I do, however, favor 2 terms for any seat on the council.
Thank you. Term limits. And Dr. Gilchrist, yes or no? What are your thoughts?
Yes, because If it is the will of the people, then we should be respecting the will of the people. Additionally, if we need to redistrict so that we can fairly represent our people, then we should just have that conversation and have the people involved instead of having seats that are going to complicate those matters.
I see. Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. And Ms. Jacobs?
I've been told that the at-large seats kind of sit back and not necessarily engage with residents. So what I would say is that it was designed to unify the county, and that person or those people are supposed to represent the entire county, working with their colleagues in various districts. So I would say, I know you want me to answer yes or no. It's hard to answer yes or no. I would say yes, if in fact the residents don't feel the impact and power of that position.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. And Dr. Rios?
I would like to keep the at-large position, one, to be employed. But most importantly, I think that it's a representation for each district to have 3 representatives. It would have their district council member and it would have 2 others. I think if they are used in the way that they were intended to be used, then I think it would be very effective for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. Mr. Washington?
I have no problem with eliminating at-large seats. I'm not a career politician. I'm going to work hard every day for you for the next 4 years, or even if eight years if I'm lucky. But that's my time. I'm not here to stay here forever and bring a network of people who don't serve your interests. That's really what we have now. And so everyone's washing each other's hands, but it's not about my interest. It's about your interest.
Thank you.
And I'm not for that large seat
Dr.
forever.
Waters?
I think the at-large position can be a great benefit to the county, depending on who's in the seat. I'm either way, because depending on who is elected, people will have a choice, and I think that's a good thing.
Thank you, Dr. Waters. So our next question here offers you a little bit more time. We're gonna get 30 seconds for this question. And this is a bit more open. And we will work our way from middle here with Dr. Rios to the right first. But before more audience questions, each of you will have 30 seconds to elaborate on a previous answer or another topic, or perhaps respond to a point made by another candidate. So floor is open. You have 30 seconds, each of you, and we'll start with Dr. Rios and work our way to the right. This is, again, before more audience questions, you will each get 30 seconds to either elaborate on a previous answer that you had given. I know some of the questions, some of your time to respond was a bit short. So if you want to add on to something that you had said previously, that's fine. Or you can elaborate on another topic, maybe something that we haven't gotten to yet, or something that you'd like to share with the audience. Soapbox moment. You got 30 seconds.
First of all, the questions were very long and I don't remember as many, but I will say that if given the opportunity to serve as your next at-large county council member, I will ensure to put the residents first, to ensure that it is fair for every member that lives here, to evaluate from every level, from seniors all the way down to our children who are in school. I would appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Washington?
Yeah, I told you earlier I was a high school dropout. I'm a fortunate man, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I got my GED at age 21, as E5. I graduated from Northwestern State University. I got my went to master's program at Johns Hopkins. So I've lived, a life on every side of the coin, right? I was homeless as a teenager. I owned a real estate company, employed 45 people, right? I was a police officer in this county. I retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Army. And so this county, this country has given me a lot, just opportunities. My job is to create opportunities for you and your families, your kids, your grandkids, and your neighbors. And that's what I'm going to do.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. And Dr. Waters?
Yes, so involving everything, affordable housing and all, I think the county, we need jobs and revenue. We need jobs and revenue. We need skills on the county council that know how to bring jobs and revenue, that have relationships, that have done those types of processes in the past and know who to reach out to and how to make it happen.
Thank you. Ms. Jacobs, 30 seconds.
I would say that the time that I have spent in my career in life has really been about service. I want to take the opportunity at the county level, as I said earlier, to bring that broad experience that I've gained both nationally and locally. And I hope this comes out the right way, but I don't need the council to sustain my life or my family. And what I mean by that is I don't need the income to do that. I thank God that we've been blessed, as an attorney. I've garnered a relationship and work that sustains my family.
Thank you,
How we
Ms.
do this
Jacobs.
Work to make things better.
Dr. Gilchrist?
So I wanted to go back to the issue of affordable housing. And one of the things that I think I didn't get to say that I think is really important to me and something that I care about deeply is the ability of our seniors to age in place or age where they want to age and to be able to renovate our homes or adjust our homes in a way that allows people to live accessibly, be part of their community, and not be shunted off or forced into other unlivable situations or undesirable situations, because our elders deserve the same time and peace and ability to live, work, and play as we do.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. Mr. Floyd?
So we talked about appointments for staffers, and oversight for staffing appointments rather, but what we didn't talk about was oversight for our county budget. I do think we need to have a mandatory agency oversight hearings for all of our county agencies as well. Every year they come up before the budget, present a budget, and then we ask a few questions and maybe move on. But we really don't dig into what they did with the money we gave them last year, what the successful track was, whether they completed it or are able to complete it or even on track to complete it. So I think we need more transparency in that space, especially around the money.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. So we're continuing with audience submitted questions. This is a collection of questions that were submitted online, both online and by folks in the audience. We'll start off with another open-ended kind of question to give y'all just space to speak your mind and speak about your experience in the county. So we'll give you 30 seconds each, and we'll start on the right here with Dr. Waters. This question is, what do you feel are defining attributes of Prince George's County that must be preserved?
Prince George's County is the only county in the history of the state of Maryland that the entire county is a heritage area. We're a part of the National Heritage Area, Southern Maryland National Heritage Area. We're adjacent to the nation's capital. This is a gold mine. We need talent who can bring that to the forefront and grasp that and grow those seeds and bring revenue and jobs to the county. It is a gold mine.
Thank you. Mr. Washington.
Yeah, Prince George's County, forgive me for saying this, is a proverbial promised land spoken of in the Bible. It is one of the richest counties in America in terms of jobs, talent, ability, skills, knowledge, people with experience from all diverse backgrounds. Prince George's County is a place where anyone can come and find their lives to be improved. Now, I want to keep that going. We're on a decline, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to say it. We're putting people in office who don't have vision, who never run a business. And so when these business owners come in, they take advantage of us and our tax dollars, and it's wasteful spending. All right.
Thank you. Sure. This question is, you'll have 30 seconds to respond, Dr. Rios. It's, what do you feel are defining attributes of Prince George's County that must be preserved?
I think Prince George's is very unique. I mean, we have the water, we have the land, we have the area for us to build smart economic development and infrastructures here. We have the talent. We are number 2 in the nation for the highest education. We just need to put it to work, and we need to make sure that our vision is transparent with residents and that the residents have an input on anything that we are building here in our county. We are Prince George's proud.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. Ms. Jacobs.
When I travel the country, let me first congratulate you, because when I travel the country, sometimes at home you don't get the recognition you should get. People across this country knows Prince George's. They know who we are, and when I meet them, they're like, "Oh my God, you're from that place in Prince George's County, in the DMV." So I would say that we have the diversity of the county. We have many opportunities that sometimes we don't leverage. But I think of course, agree with what my colleagues have said about some of the great things about Prince George's, but I think the diversity in general of who we are is what makes us great.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Dr. Gilchrist.
Absolutely. I think the fact that we are one of the most educated counties in the country is something to be incredibly proud of, but also something that we want to preserve. And I want to make sure that we do that by supporting our schools and supporting our young people so that that can continue to be the case. I also love the diversity of this community. It has been a pleasure and an honor to bring my daughter up in a place where there are so many different ways of living, so many different ways of thinking and being so welcome. And that is something that I also want to make sure that we preserve in this place.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. Mr. Floyd.
Prince George's County is not just the county, it is our community. And I think we have to get back to a place where we start operating like that. People want to move here. They want to start families here, but we're making it very, very difficult for them to do that. We have an internationally award-winning parks and recreation system with trails and facilities across the board that other countries even envy. And we don't do enough to promote and leverage that. And I think we need to take advantage of that along with our diversity and culture.
Great, thank you. This is another audience submitted question. We started with Dr. Waters there. This time we'll go with Ms. Jacobs and move to the left. You have 30 seconds to respond to this one. This is about senior programs in the county. What's your plan for creating more programs for seniors that will help with the maintenance of their homes? For example, lawn care, replacing doors, flooring, and so on. You have 30 seconds.
So Christmas in April should not just be once a year. We really need an ongoing program that provides those supports for our seniors. And we have enough volunteers and enough nonprofits who are willing to do that. We need to leverage those relationships, and we need to make sure that it's an ongoing program.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Dr. Gilchrist.
So I spoke earlier about making sure that our seniors are able to age in place. And one of those things is making sure that places are accessible. So I want to make sure that we have programs in place that allow updates and encourage updates and support and provide grants for accessibility accommodations, modifying homes, making things more accessible, as well as making sure that there are day programs, community programs, because again, our seniors live vibrant lives. They deserve to live, work, and play here. So those are some of the things that I would focus on.
Mr. Floyd.
We have a tendency in this county to fund and develop programs that we don't sustain, such as the senior tax credit. So I think we need to take a step back and review what programs we've already had that actually worked, that were beneficial, and figure out how to get some of those restarted and off the ground again in support of our seniors, and then look at supplemental programs to include partnerships with other community organizations to help our seniors do those types of things. Nonprofits are out here every day that work in other communities that do the same thing. And quite frankly, the government can't, nor should they be doing everything themselves.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. And Dr. Rios, want to give us 30 seconds about senior programs?
Yes, I echo the same sentiment that my colleagues have up here. Use the nonprofits that exist. I don't know how many of you have mentors, but I have mentors and I have mentees. So it could play back from seniors also being involved with students that are in high school to help them cut their grasses, tax credits, as he mentioned, as well as bringing some of our services directly to our seniors and ensuring that we check on them year round, not just during one period of time during the year. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I ran a foundation for 13 years in this county as a police officer, and we gave scholarships to seniors, and we gave grants to help them with their food, their utilities, their rent. If you look on the back of my brochure, you'll see that. And you'll see about 20 seniors with me. So we provide actual services for them. I understand that our circle gets smaller as we age. So a lot of seniors are lonely. They can't drive. So I'm going to implement mobile health clinics for them to come out and check on them and provide them medical services. We've done that through my foundation, and we're going to keep doing it. Thank you.
Dr. Waters.
Formerly as a mayor, I advocate for those who cannot advocate for themselves, children and seniors. It really takes work. There are a lot of programs, there are a lot of benefits available. It just takes the people and the political people who will take the time to access those programs for seniors who need them. Many programs are there, much more can be refined, but it takes work and it takes those who are interested in the lives of seniors.
Thank you, Dr. Waters. So we're going to ask another audience question, quick preview, because I understand that Mr. Washington and Dr. Gilchrist have not had the opportunity to answer first for these questions so far. So after this audience question, I will give everyone 30 seconds, open response kind of moment to just either elaborate on a previous question or a previous topic that we had talked about. But first, we're going to do the audience question. This next audience question, and we will go with, excuse me, give me a quick reread. We're going to start with Dr. Rios for this question. Just 30 seconds. And this audience member gave us a bit of an introduction here about industrial pollution and public health. So the commentary at the beginning here is we have serious air pollution here. Diesel exhaust is highly carcinogenic and it causes serious health problems. What would you do to help already overburdened communities from industrial pollution? So that's 30 seconds, Dr. Rios.
I think we have been working really hard to get bike lanes and provide other access to transportation like the Metro, the Blue Line, Purple Line. I would make sure that we can, get incentives for electrical vehicles. I mean, we would have to work with the environmental group. There is a group called Sierra that we could ask them to do some research to see what other methods that we can implement in the county to help reduce pollution.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. And we'll go to the right with Dr. Washington.
Well, in this county that reduce the traffic congestion, and that's what we want to do. The emissions from these cars is untenable. We've got probably an increase of probably 20,000 people, and so I say 20,000 cars in the last year. That's significant, and it's only going to grow. So we have to have plans to reduce the carbon footprint by all this urban mass development, which creates more cars, more congestion, more just a litany of issues, health issues that go along with that. And so the pollution factor is serious, and I don't think we've been advised properly over many years. I'm sorry,
Mr. Washington. And Dr. Waters?
I would promote free transit, such as they have in other jurisdictions. Yes, definitely free transit. To reduce emissions and to reduce traffic, it's a win-win. To work, and I agree that we just have to work on the transportation issue is one of the biggest issues to reduce emissions. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Jacobs?
Not repeating what some of my colleagues said, I think we do have to ensure that as we're building, when we build in the county, that we're creating space where people don't need a car to get where they need to get to. And that opportunity means that we have to be very intentional about the decisions that we make at the council level. And I think there's so many other things we can talk about with clean air, and pollution is an ongoing problem here. We're feeling the impact of climate change and et cetera in Prince George's County. So I think a lot of what we've already talked about and need to explore more is going to be important on the council.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Dr. Gilchrist?
Thank you. I agree with Dr. Rios that we can consult the experts that are both in the room today and also our experts at Siege and other organizations that have been working on this and are based at University of Maryland or Bowie State or any of the other universities in order to figure out the best practices. But in the meantime, we can ensure investment in public transportation, including free transportation in key areas, making sure we invest in smart growth, and we can even disincentivize diesel trucks and diesel drivers through taxes or other mechanisms. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. Mr. Floyd?
So I live in the Forestville, Suitland area, which is actually one of these particular zones that you're referring to. I think we need to do a couple of things. I think the free transportation or minimum charge transportation is a very good option. I remember when the Commander Stadium opened, that was one of the biggest assets that was there. We had double-decker Metro buses with a parking lot so that people weren't driving to the stadium. And then when the stadium got sold and the team got sold, then all of a sudden it was parking lots, tailgates, and everything. So I think we do need to look at what public transportation looks like for some of the bigger things in the development projects that we're working towards. And then I think we continue to build around our metros, but everybody does not live around a metro, and we have to consider that as well.
Thank you. So as mentioned, I want to give everyone the opportunity, 30 seconds, open floor, starting with Mr. Washington and Dr. Gilchrist. So give you a quick moment and then 30 seconds, address the audience, anything we might not have asked you, or if there's anything that we had previously talked about that you'd like to elaborate on.
Sure. Thank you for your time. I know your time's valuable, and I appreciate that. I mean, listen, there are a lot of things you could be doing right now, and for you to come down here right now and listen to us, like, tell you why we're the best candidate, I appreciate you being a neighbor. So, let me say this before I go. No matter who you elect, ladies and gentlemen, we can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. If the people who've been in office for 35 years had done it for us by now, they're probably not going to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Dr. Gilchrist, 30 seconds.
we've touched on so many topics, but and I'm happy to elaborate on any of them. And I have more information on my website, lauragilchrist.com. I'm a researcher. And so if there is an issue that I don't know about, I will either go to an expert or I will dig deep and do the research for it. I will read all of the things that come across my desk because that is my obligation, but I will also be accountable to the people always.
Great, thank you. And we'll go to the middle here for Ms. Jacobs and Dr. Rios.
Okay, is this a closing or this is a 30?
Oh, no, you're still going to have 2 full minutes at the end. This is just 30 seconds before we get back to audience questions.
Take this opportunity, honestly, to actually thank my colleagues here who have decided to run for office. I'm going to use this 30 seconds for that reason. It takes a lot to put your name out there for people to vet you and look through the whole process. So I just want to say thank you to you all for your willingness to serve and the opportunity to support this county that we all love.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. And Dr. Rios?
I thank all my colleagues as well. You guys are doing a great job. So it's hot, it's tough in the seat. But I will use this time to talk about budget. I support IG. I think we should follow the charter. I think we should have a third-party auditor to come in and look at our budgets. I think it should be transparent on every budget that every council member has so that we can see where our tax dollars are being thrown to or used for. I would make sure if I'm a business owner and I have to report to my CPA, to the IRS, and to my bookkeeper, I think we should have that same transparency for our tax dollars.
Thank you. Mr. Floyd?
I think one thing that we also got to keep in mind as we're looking at the future of our county is family size. I think a family size of 1 is just as important as a family size of 6 or 8. And we have to make sure that our development opportunities, our housing opportunities, our employment opportunities are doing that. I was able to buy my first home at 25, and my family could show me how to buy a house because they had been through the process, thankfully. But like I said, I'm a first-generation college grad, and there was nothing that they could tell me what to do about how to go and graduate and take care of those things. So coming back as a community, we need to align together, but keep that in mind. Family size is important and how we grow.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. And Dr. Waters?
So like everyone, I applaud the panel, for standing up and doing this. This is not easy. And I applaud you as citizens and Prince Georgians because you're impressive. You really are. Some of the decisions and some of the actions I've seen you take, you're doing this. I hope you do more of it. And, I think you need to give yourselves a hand of, a hand. So thank you for doing this and continue to do this.
Thank you. And so we're coming into our final 15 minutes. We're going to get back to audience submitted questions. And again, at the end, each of you will have 2 minutes to speak to the audience directly. Again, open floor. This is another audience submitted question from someone here today, and it's about our unhoused residents in Prince George's County, something we haven't talked much about today. So you'll have 30 seconds to respond to this one. And for just purposes of consistency, and again, giving Mr. Washington and Dr. Gilchrist the opportunity to answer first, we will start with Mr. Washington. You have 30 seconds to respond here. So Prince George's County is lacking in assistance for those who become unhoused. Is that something that you're aware of? And how can it be addressed? You have 30
Those that I didn't hear it.
Sure, I can ask again, no problem. So this is a question from an audience member about unhoused residents in Prince George's County. You'll have 30 seconds to respond. Prince George's County is lacking in assistance for those who become unhoused. Is that something that you're aware of? And how do you think it can be addressed?
Listen, as the owner of a real estate company, we build low-income housing. We take vouchers from the federal government, from the state government, and from the county. We provided housing for indigent people, group housing, as a matter of fact. And so we've done a lot in that space. So I know there's a great need for it. I myself, I'm a product of being a homeless child. I slept at the shelter with my mother when I was 15 years old until we got someone to reach out to us and provide temporary housing for us. So yeah, I'm all for helping those who are in need of assistance.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Dr. Gilchrist?
Thank you. This is a great question. I'm glad that somebody asked it. Homelessness is a policy failure. It is not an individual failure. It is a policy failure. Housing is a human right, full stop. But we also have the capacity and the ability to house people. And we should be doing that. There are numerous structural reasons why people become homeless, but the vast majority of our homeless folks are veterans and foster children who are aging out of the system and have no homes. And that is simply unacceptable.
Thank you, Dr. Gilchrist. Ms. Jacobs, 30 seconds.
I think we have more mega churches in Prince George's County than anywhere in this region. I think it's a faith-based issue that should step up and help the community with our unhoused and homeless population. I think the faith-based community could do more. And I think from a government perspective, if we go, and I do this, especially in Baltimore when I represent clients, when we drive around this county and see that there are homes and buildings that are empty and boarded up, that is unconscionable. Someone could be living there, and it's our responsibility to make sure that those areas are there. And again, we can use nonprofit organizations to support that work.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Dr. Rios?
I completely agree with my colleagues up here. Organizations like nonprofits and churches could do some assist more. We could also look at all the buildings that are vacant currently and see how we can turn those into places for our homeless to reside in. As a service disabled veteran, you know, as Dr. Gilchrist mentioned, you know, there are a lot of veterans that are homeless and there are a lot of people who do not have a way to live here, but we need to do better on the county council to make policies to assist and create ways for them to be housed.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. And Mr. Floyd, 30 seconds.
I think one of the most important things we need to do is understand why people are unhoused. I think there are a variety of reasons, everything from, like you said, foster students who age out, veterans, people who go to PTSD, mental health challenges, all of those things. I think once we really understand what those groups look like, in addition to providing some of the tailored services that individual folks would need, we should be able to set a standard for wraparound services that we could help mitigate this. I don't think it will eliminate it because, quite honestly, and probably unpopularly, there are some people who do choose to stay unhoused. But for those who we can help and help get back to that place, that's what we should be leaning into.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. And Dr. Waters?
I believe the county does have the resources to address the homelessness problem. And I agree with Mr. Floyd that some people do not want to be housed, but those who wish to be housed, whether we work with NGOs, faith-based organizations, or the government, that we can tackle the program. Is just that we need to have people on board who will get the job done and have the heart to do it.
Thank you, Dr. Waters. Come to our closing moments. Of course, we have 6 candidates on stage, so our time is limited, but we did promise that we would afford everyone 2 minutes at the end. Share what you would like. 2 more questions.
There's still 4 cars parked in the community day.
Oh, yes.
And they will be asked to leave now. So if you want to leave one of those cars, it's directly outside. We ask to use the
Park on the opposite side of the plant barrier. We were asked to park on the opposite side of the plant barrier in the middle of the parking lot. That's safe, but this side is needed for the high school.
Closest to BCPA, they're setting up for the high school community. So if you are close to BCPA in that large lot, you're probably within the. Not the size, the large lot on the side.
It's cold. Thank you. So we'll return to more audience questions. We just have 2 short ones here at the end. And then we also have, again, the opportunity for our candidates to have 2 minutes to speak. So we're going to come to our final audience questions. And the first question here, each member will have 30 seconds to respond. We'll go in the same order, but starting with Dr. Gilchrist this time. Okay, so this one has a little bit of an introduction to it as well, but this is about public participation in development processes. We talked a little bit about Six Flags today. We talked about Landover Mall, housing. This is more in that vein. So county officials are strongly pushing to streamline development to be more business friendly and attract development that expands the tax base, as they claim. Many are concerned that streamlining is a campaign to further reduce public input in the development process. So the question is, and you'll have 30 seconds to respond to this, Dr. Gilchrist first, then Mr. Washington. How would you ensure fair and meaningful public participation in the development process?
Thank you for that question. This is something that I am deeply passionate about. First off, there are efforts to minimize public participation. It's a huge issue, and it's also one of the reasons that I'm running. We can update our websites and make sure that the county websites are accurate and clear about what the policy is and what's being discussed and when it's being discussed ahead of time. We can push out information through our libraries, through our schools, et cetera, to advocate and make sure that people know what's happening. And we can ensure that we are not cutting people out, that they are the front lines of our conversations with these policy issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Washington?
Yeah, my purpose is a little bit different, ladies and gentlemen. For very, very limited development, we don't need 400 towns here. There are about 4,000 units being built right now in this county with no new schools, and the roads are not being widened. And so that 4,000 houses, if you say 2 cars per house, that's another 8,000 cars. Not in your neighborhoods. So we need to build infrastructure first. And I'm for building more schools, widening the roads before we entertain development. See, we're being housed right out of our quality of life. And so we need to recognize that. You're going to be in a traffic jam all day, every day, if you're not careful. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. I'll ask Dr. Rios to answer next.
I would say we can start with surveys as well. So there's a lot of people who may not be able to get to a location that is available. However, we can also send out surveys, just like they send mailers out all day long. We can send surveys, we can host multiple locations. There are 9 districts. There should be one in every district for everybody to voice their opinions. Use a larger space. We should not have last minute decisions where where our folks are not included in decisions that are making. I do agree with streamline. However, let's not skip any part of the process. Ensure that every voice at the table or the stakeholders involved to invite environmental and other agencies that need to participate to make these decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. That is true. Y'all do love those mailers. Ms. Jacobs.
Provide notice and an opportunity to be heard. It's that simple. Give notice to our community. Make sure that as an at-large member, it's not just relying on the district-based member, but the at-large member is also pushing out information. Again, notice to our residents and opportunity to be heard in various ways.
Dr. Waters.
We need to change the county council. They've become too expertise at bypassing you with bills such as the for a data center. They call it the flagship overlay zone. What does a flagship have to do with the data center? So they become skilled at confusing the public. We need to change the county council. It will continue. Thank you.
Mr. Floyd.
I think if anything, we need to streamline is the communication around these processes. I think the process should not be overburdensome though, but we do need to streamline communication. I mean, I can think of a number of us who have driven down roads and you see the signs on the side of the roads that says hearing coming up and you have no clue what it is for. You can't pull over and stop and see the sign. And then all of a sudden one day you wake up and then there's a building going up or something happening, right? So I think we need to look at what that looks like and how we're doing it, whether it's an alert system that allows you to enter your zip code and then you get alerts for development projects and things that are going on in your community or what the case may be, but communication has to be better.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. We have one final audience question. This one will be shorter. This will be a yes or no question, but again, you will have the minute at the end if you would like to expand or however you would like to close out and have your last statement be here today. So this last question is about online databases for tracking development projects and environmental permits, talking more about offering opportunities for public input and so on. So oftentimes they present incomplete, obsolete, and sometimes inaccurate information. This makes it difficult for residents to access contracts, lobbying records, and environmental impact assessments. So this is a yes or no question here. Would you support an overhaul of the county's public information systems to ensure timely access to critical development and contract information? And feel free to add another 10 to 15 seconds of commentary, but it's would you support an overhaul of the county's public information systems? And we will start again with Dr. Gilchrist.
Thank you. Yes, our systems are constantly not updated, and I don't think that's by accident. I think that's by design. We need to be able to have access to public information, and we need to be able to access it with our modern advances that we have. We also need to be able to make Public Information Act requests when we need to and through a modernized system. So we should absolutely, yes, I absolutely support this.
Thank you. And Mr. Washington?
Yes. And when you're not getting the information, there's a slow process to try to get it. It's called the MPIA.
I'm sorry, could I ask you to use the mic just for folks online?
Sure.
And-
Yes, I agree. And when you're not getting the information, there's a program called a law that's called MPIA, Maryland Public Information Act. So you can make a request written or through, electronic email. But my point is, there's no enforcement mechanism. They're taking 30 days to notify you of your request. That may be after a bill has been passed and putting its time in the law. So we need to be diligent. Organizations like yourself need to be very, very diligent in holding elected officials accountable. And
Thank you, Mr. Washington.
Sure.
Dr. Rios?
As I mentioned earlier, I have an IT business and I constantly have government contracts where I'm updating the federal government websites. Not only do I believe that we should have it, I think it should be in multiple languages because we are so diverse as a county, but there are so many residents who do not speak English. I think we say that we're diverse and inclusive here, but I don't see it represented across our pages here. So that is one thing I would take personal to ensure that we have for all residents that live here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. And Ms. Jacobs?
I can simply state it, you can't say that we want to be transparent and then make it a case by case basis. There has to be a process where if a resident wants to see something, no matter what the contract is or what the issue is, that they can continue to access that. When I was on the school board, legislation was passed and the school board did at that time require that contracts be on the website. Don't know what they're doing now, but that's what we require. So any resident could go on the website and look at our contracts and see what we were making decisions on.
Thank you. Mr. Floyd?
It is easier for me to learn about a party that the county is throwing than it is to find out about a development project or anything else that's happening in the county. And that's the reality of it. So yes, I 100% support the overhaul.
I'm sorry. Dr. Waters, what is your response?
Yes, I agree with Mr. Floyd. Yes, we need the public to be the eyes and the ears. Yes, I couldn't answer that better than Mr. Floyd did.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And so I want to offer everyone the opportunity. We'll just go from left to right as we did at the top. Give everyone 60 seconds, speak to the audience, let them know where they can find you, so on and so forth. If I can, before you start, again, I'm from the Banner here. We're opening up a newsroom, Banner, Prince George's County. If y'all have anything going on in the community that you would like for us to know about, you can reach out to me via email. It's rondez.green@thebanner.com. I'm also running our social media, so if you send us a DM, I'm probably going to see it. And I want to give the candidates an opportunity to close out our event here today and let you know where you can find them. So please, Mr. Floyd. Say that again, please. Oh, yes, I did say both, didn't I? We'll say 1 minute. We're running up on our closing time here. 1 minute, please.
I'll keep it even brief. Again, my name is Sean Floyd. I want to thank you all for being here this morning and listening to this quality panel of candidates here. You all could have been anywhere with us, but you chose, anywhere today, but you chose to be here with us, and I appreciate it. Again, I'm running on transparency and accountability. I think we need to strengthen our education system, and we have to have smart development in the way that we're going about our county. I think the at-large members serve a vital role in doing that, being that they are able to not only support the district council members, but that they should also look at the initiatives by the district council members and understand how they affect the county as a whole. You can find more information about me at SeanAFloyd.com. That's SeanAFloyd.com. And I thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Dr. Gilchrist?
Yes, thank you all so much for being here. This is actually one of the best attended forums that we've had so far. So thank you all for your commitment to democracy and being informed voters. One thing that we haven't talked about today is campaign finance reform and public financing. And so I just want to take this time to mention that I am running publicly financed. I'm one of only two in our particular race for these seats who's running publicly financed using the Fair Election Fund. It is definitely the harder road because we don't have a uniform policy for campaign finance, but I believe in it so much that I will do the right thing even when it's hard, because I really believe in being accountable to the people and not being accountable to big lobbies, to big businesses, and making sure that you all are the voice. So even if I don't have thousands of dollars to spend on this campaign, we can do it without all that money. It just takes the votes. Money shouldn't be what determines who wins elections. And so I want to just impress that and make sure that we set a good standard, because this is the first year that we've been able to do this, and I really hope that it goes forward. And we are committed to changing our finance policy.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Gilchrist. Ms. Jacobs. Yes, please.
So you have a decision to make. You're gonna go in that ballot box and try to decide which person best serves this job. Just to tell you a little bit more about myself, at the end of the day, I always say that you can't outwork me. I grew up in a small town, rural town that was considered one of the poorest in this country. But I shouldn't be here today, and I am, because I've worked really hard. But I also give back because people have poured into me. And so I want to give back and pour into this county. I would say to you that, again, the broad experience that I have gained both nationally in those communities and now back home is really important to me. I worked the midnight shift at the Department of Corrections, 23 years. When I worked the midnight shift, I went to law school full-time during the day. I have taken that experience and I have taken my heart to do this work. I'm not doing it because it's something just to wake up and do. I care deeply about Prince George's County. I care deeply about our future. I'm a 14-year-old who I want to see have a great future, and I am committed to doing that.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs.
And your children.
And Dr. Rios?
Hi, thank you. I just want to say I am a mother, I am a veteran, I am a serial business owner. But I'm also a resident here in Prince George's County. And I believe in making sure that we can afford to live here, that we are safe in our communities. I work with the Prince George's Police Department to walk our neighborhoods to ensure that we are rebuilding our trust with our police force. I went from poverty to where I am today, and where I am today is opening doors for others to be able to have the ability to be able to set up their own business or whatever it is that they choose to do in their life. I'm there to support them. I've been a servant all my life. I've been to war literally and back. I've jumped from aircrafts, and I got my parachute now to be able to deploy to protect you all and to help you all. I'm result driven. I don't say it, I take action. If elected, I will ensure that the at-large seat is used as it was intended for. I will ensure that there's fiscal oversight, and I will ensure that your voice is implemented in everything that I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rios. And Mr. Washington?
I want to thank everyone for coming today. I want to thank you for your time and your patience. I want to thank you for your commitment to this county. I want to thank you for your lifetime of service to your families. Listen, too many of you believe that deals are being made behind your back at the council without your input, and you're not wrong, right? I promise to you that we're going to make everything transparent. We're going to make everybody accountable. I served 20 years in the United States Army. I know what it is. I jumped out of airplanes for 20 years in that role as an infantry officer. I led men in combat, 2 tours. And so my point is, ladies and gentlemen, I served 17 years as a Prince George County police officer. Last 12 years as a detective. I've investigated every kind of crime in this county you can imagine and held people accountable. Now, I want to say this to you. We're good-hearted people. We're great people. We're forgiving people. But people have taken advantage of our trust. People have taken advantage of our willingness to allow them to do what they're going to do, what they say they're going to do. And when they don't do it, sometimes we forgive them, but sometimes we say, we'll forgive you, but we're going to move on by you. We're going to put you in the rearview mirror and thank you for your service with all due respect. My platform, ladies and gentlemen, is that I'm out of time.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. And Dr. Waters?
Yes, thanks again. Like Dr. Gilchrist, I am the other public finance candidate. I, cannot be bought. I do not take money from developers and PACs. So, but we need your help. I asked you to go to Waters for atlarge.com. We need the money. You see the big signs all up and down the road. You know, I ask you, don't vote for the sign, vote for the person. You know, hopefully we'll come about and we'll have some signs. I'm gonna have some signs coming up, but I don't have thousands and thousands of dollars to do that. I ask you to vote for the best candidate for yourselves, for your children, and for your future. Thank you.
Thank you. That's going to conclude our forum for today. Thank you all so much for attending and spending your time with these wonderful candidates. Get home safely. I hope your car's still outside and that you moved it as you were requested to.
Remember, you can
thank
choose two of us.
Go ahead. Yeah. 2 seats. That's right. Thank you, Dan. Go ahead.
All right, well, wow. What an amazing group. Let's applause for our candidates, for our moderator, and for the level of discourse and the quality of candidates. I think we all see that. And, you know, I would say we need to go forth and ask the deep and hard questions of all the candidates in all of the races. And I don't know about you, but I don't think these are the hard questions. These are the everyday questions and issues we need to be dealing with. So let's go forth and build on this and keep it going. One step at a time. It's going to take a long time, but it can be done. So thanks very much. And if we could pretty much leave fairly quickly here, I do want to get a photo with our candidates and moderator. So if you guys would just gather up here. And I think we did have one other request from back here that didn't make it in. Could council meetings be at night?
Maybe I'll just stay behind there so your names are okay.
Oh, I'll do that. Well, or I think we need to.
You want to be in the back?
Oh, that's a little bit. I see.
Or just push
Let's come in front.
Right, or
Sure.
Let's come in front. You've got it. Here, I'll be in again.
all right.
Hey, you wanna hold her a little?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, come on down.
Like the red carpet.
I wanna thank, I want to really thank Billy Hall, who got us this space, who was part of creating this awesome place. 21 years ago it's been, so Billy, thank you. Thank you to the staff and also appreciate Pat Jackman and Layla Ghazi and the other in there, Michael Lafina and the PSL team. Wow. And round half for all of you guys. Thank you so much.
Somebody did, he was with Brent. Yeah, I got it.
I've been there before. Judge Williams used to do that. And right.
So, finish your